Hello students. Next let us look into the transient analysis with initial condition. Up till now, whatever transient analysis we had not done it when there was some initial charge or current in the capacitor and inductor. Now we are going to come into problem or numericals or analysis wherein we are trying to find out the transient behavior of the circuit when already this capacitor or the inductor was having some charge. Now for doing those problems, it is somewhat similar to the transient analysis of RL, RC and RLC that we have just previously done. The difference is this initial condition. The initial condition, once it comes into play, there are certain changes that has to be incorporated into the circuit. Now for doing these problems, there are 2-3 things that we should remember. First is how to draw the transform circuit. Now when I say transform circuit, it means to go from the time domain to the frequency domain, or what is called as the T to S. So whatever is in T has to be written in S. That is a transform circuit. So we have already seen that if there is a resistor, then the transformation, the transform circuit is basically R itself. There is no change in the resistance value. Only the voltage becomes with respect to S and the current becomes also with respect to X. So what is small v of t, that got Laplace transformed to capital V of S, and whatever current was there, small I of t, that got transferred to capital I of S. Please remember that you have to always write, whenever you are doing Laplace transforms, you have to always write in capitals. Okay, so V capital, I capital. So the resistance basically undergoes no change. Now let us look into the case where there is a inductor. So if suppose there is an inductor across which there is a voltage and there is a current passing in this direction, that means from top to bottom it is coming like this, then how is it going to be transformed? Now to understand its transformation, we have to look at something that is called as the initial current. What is the meaning of initial current? See, this is I of t. That means it will go all the way from minus infinity to 0 to plus infinity. So when we write t, it means all the way from minus infinity to plus infinity. But whenever there is a change in the circuit, that change is basically represented by the time 0. That's why you might have mostly seen that the switch is switched at t is equal to 0. So is there a time called as t is equal to 0? No. We generally consider that the switch is going to be switched on or off. See, it can be switched on or it can be even switched off. So the switch will be switched on and off. That time I will take it as t is equal to 0 time, and before that whatever was the condition, that is called as the initial condition, and then after t is equal to 0, whatever is the situation, that is called as the transient. Now why we call it as a transient? Because the change is happening. After considerable amount of time, the transient stage is over and what we have is called as the steady state. That means the circuit is having a steady value. So the initial condition is there, that is just before t is equal to 0. The transient state is there, which is just after t is equal to 0. And the steady state is there where the transient stage is over and you have a steady state. So based on that, if I am going to say that when the switch was on or off, when the switch was switched on or switched off at some time t is equal to 0, whatever current was flowing through here, That is the initial condition of the inductor. That means that is the initial current of the inductor L at time t is equal to 0. That's why within bracket I have written 0. It means I at t is equal to 0. We generally write 0 minus, just to indicate that just before the switch happened, just before the switch was switched on, what is the current? Okay, so whatever was the current that was flowing at time t is equal to 0 through L, that is basically I naught. So based on that, I can write in the transform circuit, the L becomes Ls, and the voltage becomes L I naught. L I naught. Look at the polarity. The polarity is such that it is supporting VFS, because the direction of this voltage is basically same as the direction of this V of S. So it is, in a way, it is supporting V of S. Okay. Now similarly, what is the value of, what is the circuit when we are considering it as a current source? So you might be thinking, why am I having two circuits? See, two circuits are there because both of them are analogous. You can either use this circuit or you can use this circuit. It's based on your choice. Generally, what I prefer to do is I use only one of the circuit, which is this circuit, the first one. If you want to use this circuit, then again this one is Ls, and here the current that is flowing is I naught divided by S. Okay, so either you use this circuit, that means either you transform this one to this circuit, or you can use this circuit to transform. You can use either one of them. As I told you previously, I always prefer to go with this because it's basically voltage source, and KVL is very easy to be done, whereas when you have a current source, then you have to go for KCL. So I don't generally prefer to do it using KCL because it generally lengthens the problem, whereas KVL is very simple. So I generally go for this kind of a circuit, but that does not mean that this is wrong. No, you can even solve it using this one. Now similarly, when we are having a capacitor and there is some voltage V of t applied, and because of which there is some current I of t flowing through the capacitor is going to charge, and it is going to charge with respect to time. Okay, so the charge or the voltage to which the capacitor is charged can be written as V0. It means what? Or Vc0. You can write V0 or you can even write Vc0. So let me write V of 0. So what does it mean? It means that the moment when you were going to switch, what was the voltage up to which the capacitor was charged? You may write this as a statement somewhere to remember. What is this initial voltage V0? V0 is the voltage to which the capacitor was charged before you made a switch, or before you switched on or switched off the switch. In that case, when you transform it, obviously V of t becomes V of S, I of t becomes I of S. What happens to C? C becomes 1 by Cs. This we have already seen. But if there is initial voltage V0 present, then this becomes V0 by S. V0 by S. And if you are trying to use a parallel circuit, you will get, again, this is 1 by Cs, and this will be CV0. So if you want to use this circuit or you want to use this circuit, that is your choice. You can use whichever circuit you feel is easy for you to solve. Generally, I use the first circuit. Now again, look at the polarity here. That is something very important. The polarity of the voltage that is there in capacitor case is such that it opposes the original voltage because of which it is charging. It opposes the original voltage with which it is charging. So Vs is the original voltage. You can look, V naught S is basically having a polarity which is opposite to that of V of S. Okay. Whereas the current also is such a way that it is opposing the initial current I of S. In the case of inductor, the current was such that the current was in the same direction as I of S. The voltage was in the same direction as V of S. Whereas in the case of capacitor, you have to remember the voltage is always opposite to what was used to initially charge it. So this is something that we have to remember, how to draw the transform circuit. Now, there is another important thing we have to remember, and that is the second point is we have to remember, and that is the condition of RLC when it is fully charged and when it is uncharged. See, this is something that you might have already studied, but it is very important to understand this concept of what happens to R, what happens to L, and what happens to C when it is charged. That means when it is charged means when there is some voltage or current already stored in it. What is when it is uncharged? Okay. For understanding that, see, resistance, I will straight away draw, there is no change in resistance. Resistance is neither charged or uncharged because we know that resistance does not store anything. So R remains as R. There is no issue. Now, when you are having an inductor and this inductor is suppose uncharged, that means there is no current stored in this inductor. In that case, when you are trying to pass, so let me draw it with the help of a switch and a battery. So suppose when you are trying to close the switch, immediately current will start flowing through this. Now this is uncharged. As soon as the current will start flowing through it, the first thing that the inductor does is it basically opposes this flow of current. It does not allow this current to pass through. It behaves as if it is an open circuit when it is uncharged. So in uncharged condition, the inductor behaves as an open circuit, OC, open circuit. Whereas suppose you have kept this closed for a long time. So you have, when you close the switch, it was initially opposing, but slowly it allowed the current to pass through it. Now after some time, when you would see the switch is closed, okay, the switch is closed, and after some time what you will see is that the inductor is now charged. And when the inductor is charged, there is no opposition to this current. It fully allows the current to pass through. So it will be as if all the current is allowed to be passed through. There is no opposition to that current. So this is short circuit. So when the inductor is, oh sorry, I wrote here charged and uncharged opposite. Sorry. So I should have written here uncharged and charged. Sorry. This is uncharged and this is charged. Sorry. Okay. So when this is completely charged, the inductor starts behaving like a short circuit. the inductor starts to behave like a short circuit. Okay, and similarly, when you have a capacitor, suppose there is an inductor battery to which there is a this thing connected, switch connected, and there is a capacitor, and you are, after switching, you are trying to basically, this is uncharged, okay, now this is uncharged, and you try to basically pass current through it. The capacitor has a behavior that it will allow all the current to pass through it, because there is no voltage to oppose it, because it is uncharged. So in the case of uncharged, the capacitor is basically acting like a short circuit. So the capacitor acts as a short circuit when it is completely uncharged. And when the capacitor gets fully charged, what will happen, even if the even if the switch is on, okay, even if the switch is on, that means the switch is on and you are having this current flowing through the circuit, the capacitor, after getting charged, it will not allow the current to pass through. It will block that current, and it will block it fully. The capacitor will block the current fully. It will not allow the current to pass through it when it is fully charged. So in that condition, we feel that means we feel the capacitor to be open circuited. So the capacitor, when it is completely charged, it is open circuited. This thing everyone should remember very clearly. There should not be any confusion, because if you don't remember this, you are totally not going to get the problem. So these two things you have to completely remember. This one, how to draw a transform circuit, and second one is when it is fully charged and when it is uncharged, what will be the the RLC. Now one thing you may ask, sir, it is in time domain or in frequency domain? Remember this very clearly, this is all in time domain. This one I am talking in time domain only. Okay, because see here already transform circuit we are talking about what happens to the inductor and capacitor in frequency domain. But here what I am trying to talk about is in time domain, how you will represent the circuit. Okay, now next I will try to, so these two things you should remember, and the next thing that you should remember is generally how do we solve the problem. Always there is a simple method of doing the problem. For that you have to understand what is the timeline and how things are in the timeline. So I will draw the timeline here. Okay, so this is suppose time t. This is suppose time t. This is the minus t. Okay, and there is a circuit. I'm not going to draw the circuit. Let me draw it by a representation that there is a circuit, and that circuit is having some switch somewhere. Let me name that switch K. Okay, and this is the circuit, and it is connected to some voltage source or some current source. We don't know. It may be, there is some source through which energy is getting passed on to the circuit. Now, once the switch is open and it has remained open for a long time, the circuit is in steady. The circuit is in a steady state. Steady means what? Stable. That means there is not much change going on. If you leave the circuit in that steady state, it will remain in that steady state for infinitely long time. That is what is the steady state. Its state will not change with respect to time. As soon as you switch on this thing at t is equal to 0, the circuit has got a disturbance. Why? Because the circuit got a switch, that switch got on, because of which suddenly an extra energy is coming, because of which now the, what do you say, the circuit is moving from steady state to what is called as a transient state. It goes from a steady state to a transient state. What is the meaning of transient? It means that it is changing. The circuit is getting changed. The values inside the circuit, the current, the voltage that is flowing inside the circuit is getting changed. That's a transient state. And when does that happen? That happens at the time t is equal to 0, when the switch is switched on or off, whatever. Because previously the switch might be closed. At t is equal to 0, you are opening it, so it may be opening or closed. So whenever you make a change in the circuit by flipping the switch, you are having what is called as a transient stage. And in the transient stage, the current is flowing, the inductor, capacitor are trying to charge up. Once it gets charged up, slowly with time, the circuit again goes from transient state to a steady state. Okay, it goes from a transient state to a steady state. So before the switch was switched on, the circuit was in a steady state. After switching, it got to a transient state. And after considerable amount of time, this again becomes a steady state. Okay, and this cycle will keep on repeating. What do you mean keep on repeating? After it has remained in steady state for a long time, again if you try to make a switch at some time, then again it will go into a transient state. Again it will go into a transient state. So see, it went from steady state to transient state to slowly a steady state. Then again it goes from a steady state to a transient state and again to a steady state. So the steady to transient to steady is again keeping on repeating itself with each flip of the switch. And that is something that you have to always understand in this kind of problem, that it goes from steady state to a transient state once you do a switch. So this is switch. So once you flip the switch, it goes from a steady state to a transient state. Now you might be asking, sir, I have to switch on or off? Whatever be the case, whether it is on or off, once you do the switch, it goes from steady state to transient state. Let me write it properly. So this is the switch. And once it makes the switch, it goes from the steady state to a transient state. And it remains in transient state where the circuit tries to balance the current and the voltage, and the capacitor tries to charge up or discharge, or the inductor tries to charge up or discharge, and finally it again attains a steady state. Okay, now let me show you, or let me make you understand this concept with the help of a simple example. Okay, now suppose you are having a fan in your home. When you are entering the room, the fan is, suppose you are all in your, you all are in hostel, or suppose in your house, you have gone outside and evening you are coming back. So you had in the morning when you came to the college or when you went out, you had switched off the fan. The fan is now switched off. So in the steady state, the fan is in switch off condition. Okay, so this is the steady state. And then at some time t is equal to 0, you switch on the fan. That means you have come home, you switch on the fan. As soon as you switch on the fan, does the immediately the the fan attains full speed? No, it will slowly start to rotate, isn't it? and then it will pick up speed, and then it starts picking up the speed and it attains a maximum speed. So here it is slow and here it is attained the maximum speed. So it went from zero speed here to slowly starting to move to a maximum speed, and then it has remained in that maximum speed. It will keep on remaining, isn't it? The fan does not keep on increasing its speed indefinitely. Does that happen? No. The fan slowly rotates and slowly it attains a maximum speed. Once it has retained the maximum speed, it continues that same maximum speed. Now the speed is not changing, it is having the same speed. So this is the steady state for the fan, and this is the transient stage when it is going from some slow movement to a maximum possible movement. This is the transient stage for the fan, and after it has achieved its maximum, the fan will be rotating and we will say that now it has reached a steady state, isn't it, where it has achieved its maximum. So this steady state and this steady state are totally opposite, but we call both of them as steady state. Why? Because here the fan is continuously remaining off and here the fan is continuously rotating in the same maximum speed. So it is steady, it is stable. That is what is the meaning of steady state. So steady state does not mean that whatever is the condition here, that same condition will be followed here. No. Here the fan is switched off and here it is switched on. Now again, after a long duration of time, it is in steady state, it is on. Again, suppose you flip the switch off. So at some time t is equal to, again at that time I will take it as t0. Let me say that after 1 hour you are switching off the fan. So once when you are switching off the fan, what was the initial steady state? The initial steady state was that the fan was on and it was rotating in its maximum speed. Then as soon as you switch, what will happen? The speed of the fan slowly the speed of the fan becomes slow and it becomes off. So up till that slow movement, up till it becomes off, this is the transient stage after the switching. So this was the second time I switched off. I flipped the switch. This is the transient state, and after that, once it becomes off, again it is in the steady state. So with this analogy, you should understand that when you are switching, with that each switch, it goes from a steady state to a transient state, and after remaining in transient state for some time, it goes into a steady state again. And that cycle keeps on repeating with each and every switch, flip of the switch. Okay. So once you have known this, I will now name these steady state differently. And that is where the crux of the whole problem is. That is where you have to understand this thing, that now this is called as the initial steady state. Initial steady state, and this is called as the final steady state. And whatever at time t is equal to 0 minus whatever is the condition in the circuit, that is called as the initial condition. Initial condition. Okay, that you should remember. Now I told you that there is a switch that will happen here. So at that time, this final stage will become the new initial stage and the initial condition. Okay, but generally for a problem there is only one transient stage and two steady state, which is called as the initial and the final. So this much thing you remember, and then you concentrate on what is the problem that we are going to do, when I show you the next one. Thank you.